Hey guys, welcome back to the show. You may notice that I have my glasses on today for probably a first for the podcast. My contacts have been giving me issues, so I just needed a break. So you get to see a new side of me today. Welcome to the show, everybody. There's not that many people here yet, so we're gonna take this time to go over a few things before we dive into the current events. I just want to let everybody know that the tickets for our Hawaii conference are running low. There's 18 tickets left. If you're interested in joining us, make sure you go to journeytotruth.online and grab a ticket now to secure your spot. And I hear something playing back. Anyway, you can go to the website and secure your spot. And if you can't make it in person, we have live stream virtual passes available now for only $55. And that will basically get you to opening and closing ceremonies, including all 9 presentations from all the presenters. So that's a great value. We may even, depending on the internet and the connection and everything out there, we may try to go offer some form of a live stream option from like the sacred sites or the boat or Volcano National Park. That's a big if. Chris is gonna see what it's like, our sound guy, once we're there, and then our tech guy, I should say, once we're there, and then we will see how that goes. But journeytotruth.online, if you're interested in joining us in Hawaii on the Big Island for 5 days, April 20th through the 24th. And if you can't make it, you can get virtual passes for only $55. And our documentary just came out. A Lifetime of Silence Behind a Green Door, a case for the secret space program. That we did a soft release, the premiere here in Sedona, January 9th. Then it screened again the following weekend at the Odyssey Conference. And it has been submitted to all the streaming platforms, but that's a waiting game. They gave us a 2 to 12 week window. So somewhere in that time frame, it should start hitting the streaming platforms. But until then, if you want to watch it, you can do so on our Patreon. The link is below in the description. You just click I think it's the top link in the description menu, and it takes you straight to our Patreon where you can purchase the film for $14.99, purchase to own, and watch it now so you don't have to wait for the streaming platforms. And any other announcements I'm forgetting, Aaron?
I don't think
No.
so. I think that's it.
Hello guys. I'm just looking at the chat. Let me catch up with the chat. Someone said that would be cool, Tyler, for those of us who can't quite fly that far. Oh, I guess talking about the Hawaii virtual passes. Yeah, grab a virtual pass, hang out. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, even on the live stream. This way you can kind of keep up with us. But I guess while people are rolling in, I think those were the only announcements we had to make. There's a lot going on. We're going to cover, I put together a little slideshow. We have the Artemis II, which actually isn't that exciting because we've already been to the moon. We're on the moon. This is just part of more of a dog and pony show to like, instead of telling us that they've already been there, they're trying to like roll everything out again and acting like, oh, we just went there now and just developed this base, even though the base was built 40 years ago. And we can't prove it one way or the other, so we just have to take their word for whatever narrative they're feeding us. But I mean,
I'd say more
it,
like 50 at least years ago.
right? Yeah.
We've
I mean,
had
what are your thoughts on that, Aaron?
yeah, we've been on just talking about the United States secret space stuff. I mean, it's been over 50 years. Uh I mean, you had what was it, Carl Wolf in 1960 65. He went to the NSA. He thought it was NASA at the time because no one knew what NSA was. And was shown a picture by a guy there of a base on the moon. And so clearly, and to be fair, that might not have been ours, but that like we knew about stuff on the moon before we publicly supposedly ever went there, which means we've probably been going to the moon since before that. We've probably had bases on it since the 60s or definitely by the 70s of our own. And that's the reason they stopped publicly going to the moon in 72 because they couldn't anymore because they were
Right.
told you're not allowed to do this,
And
basically.
And we cover that extensively in the documentary,
We do
actually,
cover.
as far as the moon bases go. And thank you guys in the chat for the kind words about the film. We really appreciate
Yeah,
all the
thank you.
feedback.
Thank you so much.
The feedback has been overwhelming, actually, and we're very excited for the world to see it. We can't wait for it to get on the streaming platforms. But if you're interested in the secret space program, it's a great introductory film for that, but it also takes you pretty deep into it. It covers all, it covers it from all angles without going too much at once, I think.
Feel like it goes about as deep as you possibly can go without losing a lot of people that aren't ready to go
Right.
super deep. And even as deep as we go, it's probably going to lose some people because you talk about reptilians and ETs and bases on the moon and
Yeah,
uh,
stuff that's just hard to grab onto for certain people.
even
But
everyone's in their own box of what's acceptable and what's not, what can even be entertained and what can't, But I feel like for the most part, it's about as well as you can do it justice with still like casting a wide net for the public for
right.
an intro into this topic.
Oh, and that's what I was going to say. So, for our loyal Patreon subscribers, if you would like to join us on Sunday, we're doing a private live Q&A on Patreon for anyone, the $5 membership. Anyone can join the live and ask us questions. It's going to be basically behind the scenes of the documentary. We're just going to do a Q&A and just talk about the film and anything that you guys would like to ask us, feel free. That will be Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central on our Patreon, and that link is below. So stay tuned for that. Put it in your calendar. But I'm going to share my screen here, and we are going to go through a little slideshow and cover some pretty cool stuff today. So let's see. Aaron, you can see that, right?
Yep.
All right, here it is. This was, all the major aerospace companies are covering this Artemis thing. It's a big deal. It's hilarious to me that they're just putting this much marketing into it. Obviously, we already talked about, this has already been done. It's a repeat of history. In my opinion, it's like history repeating itself, yes. But I think the first time around, they, like Kennedy and whoever was really behind the Apollo program originally before it was kind of hijacked, I think they wanted to actually what they're doing now, I think, is what they actually originally wanted to do. I think this is going to be successful this time in the sense that we're going to get to the moon. They're going to slingshot around the moon, take photos, do everything they did the first time. But this time we're actually going to go back and we're going to start hearing developments about a moon base and all this stuff, which we're going to go over here in a second. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but I just wanted to cover it because it is a big deal. I mean, it technically is a huge deal, really, but everyone's been so desensitized and just numb to all this stuff. Um, it's not that exciting anymore. But I'm going to read this from Black Hole on Twitter. Humanity is returning to the moon for the first time in over half a century since Apollo 17, which is interesting to me. That was the last one, 17, in
17.
1972. Astronauts will venture beyond low Earth orbit on a daring journey around our nearest celestial neighbor. Artemis II is set to launch no earlier than February 6th, 2026. So that's right around the corner, carrying four trailblazing astronauts aboard NASA's Mighty Space Launch System (SLS) rocket and Orion spacecraft. Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Cook, and CSA astronaut Jeremy Hansen. This 10-day mission will take them on a free return trajectory around the moon, testing critical systems, life support, navigation, communications, and more that will pave the way for sustained human presence on the lunar surface and eventual Mars exploration. Milestones they'll achieve. So this is interesting to me. Milestones they'll achieve. Victor Glover, the first black astronaut to travel to the moon. Christina Koch, I guess that's how you say it.
Yeah, Coke, like the Koch brothers.
Christina Koch, first woman to fly this far into deep space. Jeremy Hansen, the first Canadian on a lunar mission. So it's interesting how they're kind of covering that basis, which actually aligns with the new Starfleet Academy Star Trek show that it's like getting all this backlash because of the like woke agenda, but they're trying to diversify that topic at space, Starfleet Academy, which Elon Musk recently talked about, wanting to actually, have a Starfleet Academy or, and, a Star Trek style future so we can actually colonize the moon of Mars. Interesting to me that they're emphasizing first black astronaut, first woman, and first Canadian. So just something to keep your eye out for. And then I'm going to play this clip because they're really emphasizing the moon base. And I think this is just part of the continuing public acclamation program. Basically, they have to tell us, but this is how they're deciding to tell us instead of disclosing it.
Right.
And then, okay, let's see.
Not only will this mission return NASA astronauts to the lunar environment, we're sending them farther into space than we've ever sent humans before. So this is a very important 10-day mission. It's gonna be a flight test of our new vehicle, so the SLS rocket, the Orion spacecraft. It's going to stress and test all of our important systems to set up for future missions. Because Artemis II is the next episode up. The ones that come after that are going to be the American astronauts return to the lunar surface. Ideally, they've got the start of a moon base waiting for them already, and then we're going to continue those type of missions with increased rate, well into the future.
They have a start of a moon base waiting for them already. That's interesting. Which hilarious to me that like they just have the audacity to just pretend like everything didn't happen, like a classic narcissist, and
Yeah.
and then
Well, they can't. I mean, the
right,
media, it's all the control system will not allow the real information. So, and there's a clear agenda going on of, okay, well, we have to do this, but we can't tell people the truth. So what do we do? What's the obvious thing? Well, we pretend like this is the first time we're going back to the moon and the first time we're building a base and blah blah blah. So it's all pretend, basically. It's all show, like you said,
right,
because they absolutely will not tell people the truth on their own unless somehow it's forced, unless the truth comes out beyond their control, which I believe it is, and it will continue to more and more into the future until there will be, the control system's collapsing right now in real time, but it's still there, obviously, because we're still getting stuff like this and we're still getting the fake disclosure and the show. But at some point in time, I feel like um, by multiple angles, humanity's going to start learning the truth of everything. And
right,
it'll get so much that snowball will keep going to the point where you won't be even seeing this type of stuff, you know, because if they tried, no one would believe it because we would be like, no, this is all bullshit and this is actually the truth.
right.
Um, so
Wh-
it's interesting though seeing how they're still running with these narratives of, oh, we haven't been to the
Well,
moon over 50
yeah,
years and we're still using rockets, which is so laughable. It's not even funny. I mean, it's just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. They
and
still think rockets are a viable means to travel space.
it's almost they're like trying to see what they can get away with. Like, how dumb are
Right.
these people? What will they actually
Absolutely.
believe?
Absolutely.
And they say they're preparing for long-term human presence on the moon, which I think it's funny. What are all the people that have been stationed on the moon for all these years? What are they thinking about this? They're probably like, "Are you serious? This is how they're going to tell people?" Like,
Oh, they're
y-
yeah.
you know. Okay, let's move on from that. I don't think there's too much more to say about that. We've kind of already know we're on the moon. This is just a show, and just pay attention because there might be some comms in there. They're probably going to tell you things without telling you, but. Something else I find of interest is, I've never been like a firm believer in the whole EBS thing that Q always talked about. Well, Q technically didn't talk about it in the way that the Anons broke it down, but um, this this Q or EBS, emergency broadcast system announcement. So the other day during Trump's speech, device test, as President Trump was speaking, yesterday's Fox Live's feed was interrupted by a test pattern at exactly 4:37 CST or 5:37 Eastern, which is 17:37 military time. And they did a device test live. It interrupted his speech, But 1737 military time. The only reason I'm bringing this up in is because I don't believe in coincidences. Q drop 1737 literally just says device test. So at 1737, during the Trump speech, they have an emergency broadcast device test. Q drop 1737, device test.
Yeah,
And
you're
this
gonna tell me
this
that's a coincidence.
right,
Come on.
yeah, war correspondent here says hell of a coincidence.
Right.
But let's go and we'll just play this really quick, so you can actually see what happened.
Farmers, we love our farmers. We won this thing. I think hell is voting for Kamala. You know, it's
So that's all it was. And then this goes on to just show that Q drop. Just interesting to say the least. And and also what happened was yesterday or the day before, roughly around the same time, the Philadelphia 76ers stadium was just hacked with a strange message being displayed across the arena. And I'll play that video and then we'll talk about why I have this Jurassic Park thing here. And this seems more like a more commercialized, like if this was planned, but everyone, all the anons are going crazy saying that there's comms in this. It's no coincidence. So we'll just play it and let you guys decide.
So, something's going on in here, Noah.
Yeah, no, something's definitely happening. Feels like I think there's a tech problem in here. Whoa, all right, did you hear that?
All the look at the screens. They all went blue. Wait, I'm seeing a message on the jumbotron that reads, "You didn't say the magic word."
Isn't that from Jurassic Park? I think that's from Jurassic Park.
You know what? I think you're right. Didn't say the magic word. It's that scene where the whole place shuts down, right?
Yeah, okay. Or maybe it's got. Okay, all right. All right. Yeah. Then the screens have come back to normal.
Okay. So it kind of seemed like that was all staged, but there's a reason that I wanted to bring that up. There is a Q drop that shows this Jurassic Park GIF, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it says GIF.
Or
It's
GIF. I don't know. I think it's GIF, actually.
GIF, whatever
I
it
don't
is.
know. Whatever it is.
GIF.
No, it's GIF. It's GIF.
GIF. Okay, GIF. Got to the bottom of that. So anyway, the Q drop says those with an agenda to silence will fail. Pain coming, Q. And it has this GIF from Jurassic Park where they're taking off their glasses and they're being like, the actors are in shock and awe. Nothing can stop what's coming, type of thing. So just interesting. That's all. But that at the end of that hack, it did the emergency broadcast tone with the colors, the rainbow. Super Bowl this year on February 8th. This is the logo that has what people are saying is the emergency broadcast rainbow. And this guy says, is it just me or does the the LX Super Bowl logo look visually similar to the EBS signal? Either that or Lisa Frank had her hand into the design. And then this other Marianne 124 says, sure, the EBS image from the 76ers stadium was a Jurassic Park promo, but we get the message. We are very close. So there's just a lot of interesting themes surrounding some sort of a EBS. You have it at a basketball game, the Super Bowl. It happens during Trump's speech. Could something like that be around the corner? I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Aaron?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer that nothing happens. They don't do anything randomly on a big stage like these things. It's
Right.
all done. I mean, whether good or bad, but in this case, I think these are all white hat produced things now, and yeah, I mean, it lines up perfectly. It to me, that's really the only thing that makes sense when you put all this
Right.
together. It all lines up with EBS and with the Q drops, and that
Well, if
something
you
big is coming on that something very big. Whether the EBS looks exactly like everyone's expecting, I don't know, but something to that effect seems to be coming very soon.
I
Is
actually
what
want to listen to these announcers again really quick, because I just thought of something. Let's listen to this one more time at the 76ers game.
And oh, wait a second.
So, something's going on in here, Noah.
Yeah, no, something's definitely happening. Feels like I think there's a tech problem in here. Whoa, all right, did you hear that?
All the look at the screens. They all went blue. Wait, I'm seeing a message on the jumbotron that reads, "You didn't say the magic word."
Isn't that from Jurassic Park? I think that's from Jurassic Park.
You know what? I think you're right. Didn't say the magic word. It's that scene where the whole place shuts down, right?
It's that scene where the whole place shuts down, right? Almost seems like they told him to say that.
Yeah,
It's like the EBS could be a total blackout for the
right.
country, right? The whole place shuts down. I find it interesting.
Yeah, okay. Maybe it's got. Okay, all right. This is all right.
And then the game starts. Super fascinating.
It's almost well, that's because the whole 3 days of darkness thing is what everyone
Right,
been talking about, and that's what Q seemed to point to. But whether it's going to be actually 3 whole days, or if it's just going to be for one day, or not even a day, I don't know. No one really knows, or longer. No one really knows.
or
I
maybe
don't see it going for that long. I just don't. I think there would be like
right,
mass chaos would ensue if it went for more than a day. But there has to be some kind of reboot. It seems like some kind of reset of the system. Um, and that's seems to be the point of this because you could ask, well, why are they doing this at all? Why is it there even a shutdown? Well, I think there has to
right,
be some kind of reboot,
and
reset, and clearing of I don't know how whatever the logistics of that I don't know, but it seems like everything so many things have been pointing to something like this coming for years now,
right,
right?
and there's a number of theories. If you just want to look it up on X or something, there's a million theories on what the EBS could mean for us. I mean,
Right,
all, from everything from the TV networks being hijacked and they're just playing documentaries showing the truth for 3 days,
right.
down to just a total blackout for 3 days, a reset, a system reboot. I mean, any number of possibilities. I gave up on following the theories because I genuinely thought nothing was going to happen. And I still would be surprised if it happens in the capacity that people think it will. But I
Or
also I also wouldn't be surprised if we get something. At this point, nothing
right.
would surprise me.
I wouldn't be surprised. Right. Nothing surprises me anymore at all. I
Right.
mean, and I've learned to not expect anything because anytime things are too unpredictable, like, things are changing all the time. Um, so another thing you got to always think is that anything you see on a mass stage, so the cabal is seeing everything we're seeing, obviously, right?
Right.
So it could be because I think there's a lot of Art of War stuff going on still. I think there's a lot of chess moves going on still. I think there's a lot of optics going on still. So what if this is a bait to get the deep state, whatever's left of it, still operating, to think the EBS or think this type of thing is coming very soon to get them to act a certain way?
Right. And
That's what
well,
I think this is.
and they can't even afford to not take it seriously just in case. So
Right.
they have to prepare as if there might be some sort of attack or whatever blackout.
Exactly.
In the chat, um, announcers were definitely acting. The acting was pretty bad. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. That was all staged. They were well aware of that, and
They're reading a
they
script.
they were told to say, "Isn't that from the part of the movie where everything shuts down? Like it's all
Yeah.
subliminal
They probably have a
messaging."
script in front of them
Yeah,
they're literally reading, right?
subliminal messaging, predictive programming. So let's move on. Silver. Okay. So Silver's going nuts right now. In fact, Aaron just screenshotted Silver at 117.17 right before we started.
Yeah,
It
right when
actually
I
got
checked it right before we started, it was at 117.17. How about that?
right. And it got to 121, as far as I know, was the highest it's gotten, and it's kind of been fluctuating. They tried to like short sell it, and then it tanked like 12 or $15, but it bounced back immediately. So I'm going to read through some of this stuff and just kind of show you what some
Oh,
of the,
real quick, guess what
yeah,
price it was at the peak right before it tanked then? 117 something.
was it?
Yeah, it was at 117 something. Didn't quite
Right,
hit 118, so there's 17 again, 117 specifically, which is
right, which is
another
even
special
more
day,
interesting. Yeah.
right?
So let's just, I'm going to read through some of these and then I'll click on this link and see where that, I forgot even what I linked. But so Peter Schiff just warned us a financial crisis is coming that will make 2008 look like peanuts. Why do you think gold and silver are skyrocketing? They aren't just going up, they're telling us that a crash is imminent. Most people have no idea what's coming. So that's interesting. Health Ranger says by far the largest gold and silver paper sell off in history took place about 2 hours ago, and this was today. Clearly, it was an effort by the U.S. bankster gangsters to plunge metals. And yet, in about 1 hour, gold and silver has already 50% recovered from the plunge and is skyrocketing back to where it was. And somebody is going to be left holding the paper shorts. The US has lost control of the metals markets and will never get it back because the dollar is collapsing and the US empire is in its last desperate chapter of existence. Very interesting. And let's see what this says here. Um, I don't think I'm going to play this, but I wanted to read this. Silver Signal. I was waiting to see when the media would catch on to the run in metals. Today, they couldn't ignore it any longer. The banks don't want the rest of the public to know that silver is up 277% in the last year. The fact that they can't stop the media from discussing it is a major signal, in my opinion. So I will play just a second of this. I forgot what it said.
Let's talk about the state of the U.S. economy and under President Trump as we enter the second year of his second term. Joining us tonight, Fox Business anchor David Asman. David, great to see you. I want to ask you about something that we're watching that is really amazing. The price of gold and the price of silver have just gone through the roof. What's happening?
Well, usually gold is up when the dollar is down, and the dollar is down for several reasons. First of all, there's geopolitical concerns, policy uncertainty about what's happening here, trade tensions, of course, things like Greenland. But there's some other issues that play into all this. A lot of central banks around the world love gold, and they're switching to gold as their reserves. As the dollar weakens, they're selling off some of their dollar for gold, in particular China. China has a lot of U.S. debt. They have close to $1 trillion of U.S. debt. They haven't been selling it off a lot, but they haven't been buying as much as they usually do. Instead, they're buying gold. And then there are some internal factors as well. Bitcoin, if you might have noticed, has come down over the past 3 months at a kind of a similar rate at which gold has gone up. Therefore, a lot of people are leaving crypto and going into gold. A lot of American and global investors are doing that as well. So that's basically the story.
The president has said the dollar's doing fine. Is a weak dollar, do you think, part of the equation?
It is.
Okay, we don't have to keep watching that, but interesting just to see everything that's happening. I think a lot of people are panicking, but I think this has absolutely been a long time coming and it's necessary.
It is.
Absolutely necessary for this reset, whatever it is, financial reset.
Well, on one hand, it is a collapse, the system or systems, I should say, especially the US ones. And that's the scary part. And I get it when people only are looking at that and only really understand that aspect. But when you understand the deeper layers and when you understand there is a reset going on and it's not the negative, and again, things on one level look like it is the negative New World Order, globalist reset, the bad one. It's not. I mean, it would take me a while to like prove that to you, but that's what I firmly believe. That's what I know you believe, and that's what I believe is happening. And so things are changing. And in order for things to change, the old system has to collapse. It has to be destroyed, so that something new can be built or transferred over to something new.
Well,
And that's what we are in the smack dab in the middle of that happening right now. And how long is that going to take? I don't know. It could be a few years, but it's not going to be that much time because I don't think it can just drag out a super long time of transition. I would say from what I can tell, by 20, but it's funny because Agenda 2030, right, is the negative thing, but I think it's that, but it's going to be a positive 2030. So I think by 2030 we're going to be in a whole new system.
yeah, I agree.
New system.
Well, I think we're going to see we're already segueing into that now. But I'm
Right.
going to read this post by No Limit Gains on X. This is absolutely insane. Gold and silver wiped out $5.9 trillion worth of market cap within 30 minutes. Do you understand how crazy that is? To put that in perspective, we just saw wealth equivalent to the combined GDP of the UK and France evaporate in less time than it takes to order a pizza. This doesn't even feel real. A move of this magnitude in such a compressed time frame is far beyond a standard Six Sigma event. It's off the charts historically. Why are we seeing this? Extreme events like this almost always come from the market structure, instantaneous deleveraging, cascading margin calls, collateral evaporation, and forced selling. We're talking about massive internal strains in the system's mechanics. Translation, the system just broke, which thank God.
Yeah.
When precious metals, safe haven assets vaporize trillions in minutes, they're telling you explicitly that we are living through a real paradigm shift. I agree. The next few days will be insane, but don't worry, I'll keep you updated like I always do. So, just another interesting tidbit of information there. Oh, everyone right now is talking about this. It's some of the biggest news globally, what's happening with the gold and silver and the financial system in general. And there's really no other way to describe it besides, look, we are finally seeing the real-time suppression and manipulation breaking down, and we're finally seeing silver being revalued or rising back up to how it always should have been valued, in my opinion. Um, this is interesting also, Aaron. I don't know if you've seen this. Are you still, I lost you on my screen, Aaron. Can you still
Yeah,
hear me?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened to you, but
Oh,
anyway,
weird. Random phenomenon, maybe.
David Schwartz posted this.
Oh, nice.
Going through my stuff when I found a small piece of the moon. That's it.
Very interesting. He posts a lot of
Anybody,
interesting cryptic, like comms kind of stuff all the time.
right.
He,
So
he
that
does it a lot.
means everyone's thinking that means XRP or Ripple is going to the moon. Like this is just
Yeah.
another com. I've been seeing more and more stuff. Even that Asian guy that everyone's talking about, the silver guy, you know what I'm talking? It's an AI video.
It's an AI. Yeah, I've been watching the last couple of
But
days.
but he finally is talking about XRP now and Ripple,
Oh,
which is
really? I
yeah,
haven't
which
seen that from him.
yeah, it's really interesting. It's like an 11-minute video. So I mean, everybody's wondering who that guy is. It's super anomalous, and I don't really know. It's obviously AI. I don't know who's behind that, but he's been pretty accurate in covering everything that's happening. So interesting how also side note how an AI account is going viral right now. It's just showing you the times we're
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day that the AI Asian dude talking about so the rug pull they just did on Monday with silver and how easily they can do that and they've done this so many times. This is one of the main ways they easily manipulate the paper market
Right.
is they just have to raise the margin price out of nowhere, just change the rules out of nowhere basically, and then everyone basically is forced to sell at the same time to cover that suddenly they need a whole bunch more money that they didn't need prior.
Right.
And if you don't just happen to have that liquid on you right then, guess what? You got to sell. And that's what happened on Monday. And that's why it tanked out of nowhere because that's exactly, and you can see it. It's like you can look and see exactly when they did that and exactly when it tanked. It's right there. That's what caused it. And they can just keep doing that indefinitely on one hand, except every time they do that, more and more and more people lose trust the in the paper market and they realize it's a lie and that it's completely rigged.
Is
And
my
on top of that, the physical is what's actually in demand, not the freaking paper. No one wants the paper is just a convenience thing, so you don't have to use physical, right, to trade with. but the physical is what's in demand, and that's what everyone wants right now, and that's what there's nowhere near enough of to meet demand
Right.
for silver. And that's just going to keep increasing. The demand's going to keep increasing, and the supply it cannot keep increasing, at least not for a long time, because of the nature of most silver isn't mined directly. It's a byproduct of other things being mined. And
Right.
I also listened to somebody yesterday said like if a mine started today to mine silver, so let's say suddenly there's all this demand, we need to start mining more silver. It would take at least bare minimum of 10 years for that to start to take effect, to affect the things, because it's such a lengthy process to get to that point. That's a
Right.
long time.
Right.
So essentially, the price of silver, in a nutshell, the price has to keep going up of silver, and you want physical. You do not like the paper markets. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be good. You don't want to get caught holding that bag. You want the physical, because that's what's in demand, and that's the safe haven.
Right.
Anyways,
And yeah, it's a barter token too. Like at the end of
yeah,
the day, it's a physical, tangible thing in an illusionary world. So
right,
no matter what happens, it will always have value, if not
right.
increase in value because of whatever potentially could happen.
And that's the big difference between silver and gold, because gold is mostly just a store of value, which is great, but it doesn't have as many use cases or as important of ones. Silver is used in all of technology, all of it, basically,
Right. Right.
all of it. And the military massively uses silver in all their stuff. And all these AI data centers, like all of our technology, everything, the whole future we're moving into is massively silver based, at least
Right.
for now.
And
So,
not
what do you think's going to happen when that demand is just going through the roof right now and the supply is so low? The supply has not been nowhere near the demand for a long time. They've just been able to keep it squashed and manipulated for a long time.
right.
The price should have been higher than it is now decades ago, in my opinion, but it's because of the manipulation. But now that manipulation is not able to keep, like the system's breaking, basically. That's why
Mhm.
you're seeing this parabolic move. And that's just it's going to keep going. It's going to hit I think silver's going to go to $1,000 an ounce, and then it's going to go higher than that.
Yeah, I kind
Gold
of have
goes
that
up.
feeling too. Conservatively, some people are figuring 300 to 500 now. Like it keeps going up because you have this whole
That's a very conservative. I think it's going to go way higher
you,
than that.
you have this whole this group of people online and X that were screaming into the wind saying it would never get past $50. The deep state will never let it happen.
Never allow it. Blah blah
You
blah.
guys are crazy. You guys are insane. Then the same people said it'll never go past 100. I guarantee it. I was watching them. They're
Yeah,
like
but that's
literally,
100.
literally, doing like the flat earther mocking, just mocking anyone
Right,
who believed it could go over 100. Now it's like
right.
120. So it's like even the people, like I don't know why people don't want things to be true so badly. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
make sense
people
to
did
me.
that with XRP. They're like, it'll never go over $1. You guys are
Right,
crazy. It's gonna go to zero. It's never gonna go above $1. That's hilarious. And then it went up to like 370 or whatever that peak was.
right,
And then, yeah, it's still tied to the crypto market, so it's pulling back with everything else. The entire market moves in tandem. But guess what? It's sitting at like $1.80, and it's only that low because Bitcoin is dragging everything down.
right,
And at some point, it's going to decouple from that, and it's going to be like a silver situation, but with a crypto.
right. Yeah, I think
So,
it actually makes sense that silver is happening first.
right,
But
make that silver's happening first.
let's move on from that. We got a lot more to get through. Um, okay, weather wars. So right now, this massive winter vortex, polar vortex, whatever they're calling it, I absolutely artificially
Oh yeah.
manipulated, manufactured, in my opinion. And there's another one coming, they say. Very interesting, but I'm going to read through this and then we're going to watch a video. This guy was on Sean Ryan's podcast talking about how they manipulate the weather. Also, I was getting a haircut the other day and in the barbershop they were talking how apparently there's a place you can go if you have anywhere from 20 to $40,000, you can make it not rain on your wedding day. You can pay a company to manipulate the weather in your area and have clear skies for your wedding if you have enough money. So I mean, they're doing it recreationally like that. So why wouldn't they do it to push an agenda?
Right.
So, holy shit. Rainmaker CEO admits weather control. His targets get hit with rain and ice right on schedule. Are you paying attention yet? This is Augustus Dorico, CEO of Rainmaker, explaining weather modification on camera with Sean Ryan as the timeline snaps perfectly into place. Dorico lays out the system in plain English. You find the water with the radar, you fly your drone up into these conditions, you disperse the material, and with the same radar, you can now see it freezing, growing into bigger snowflakes, and measure how much precipitates downwind. For every pound of this you put up, you get in excess of 40 million pounds down on the ground. That's not modeling, that's control. He confirms the footprint. I'm not going to read through all this because he kind of goes through what he says. So I'm going to play the video and just let him explain it.
A lot of what we do right now is snowpack enhancement. So you find the water with the radar, you fly your drone up into these conditions, hope that it survives. You disperse the material. So we have this aerosol dispersion system that basically just emits individual particles that the water freezes onto. With the same radar, you can now see it freezing, growing into bigger snowflakes, and then eventually bigger drops, and measure how much precipitates downwind.
So you're essentially introducing some type of an agent that has weight to it.
You're introducing an agent that the water freezes onto. It's just the weight of the water that pulls it down. So for every pound of this that you put up, you get in excess of 40 million pounds down on the ground.
Have you been in your own rain?
Snow. Yeah, our own snow. It's actually way easier to make snow than it is rain.
Why is that?
So you know how the material freezes the liquid in the cloud?
Mm-hmm.
That means that the cloud has to be cold enough for you to freeze it in the first place, which generally means that it's cold beneath the cloud too. Now, with respect to rain, we're operating in Utah, Colorado, Oregon, California, and Texas. It's all rain in Texas, so we've been in our own rain there.
It's got to be a weird feeling, knowing that that's your rain.
Like I said, that's the second most important thing that I've ever done in my life.
What is the agent?
Yeah, so silver iodide. That is what has been used in one form or another for the last 60 years. Its crystal structure is almost identical to ice. So that plus a couple other material properties make the water freeze onto it very well. We use so little of it, about 50 grams per 100,000 plus acres, that there's no accumulation, no measurable or consequential accumulation in the soil for humans or for farms or for ecosystems. All that being said, though, well, actually, the first point is most cloud seeding operations in the past have used flares. So they'll burn a flare that aerosolizes the silver iodide. But in the flare, there's a bunch of other junk materials, right? People get concerned about aluminum or stuff like that in the flares. So we don't use that because we don't want any additional additives beyond what is explicitly and exclusively for rainmaking. So our aerosol dispersion system just uses silver iodide. Something that we're working on right now is totally organic material found in American soil that is biodegradable, that is more effective and actually costs less per gram than silver iodide. We have a bunch of lab testing to do before we roll that out to the field, and then we need to do all of the regulatory permissions with the EPA and otherwise. But silver iodide is what we've used for the last 7 months.
When do you think you'll introduce the other agent?
January 2026.
January 2026. Well, what did we just get? What did we just see? A massive winter vortex in the top.
We got like 22 inches of snow here.
That's insane. Yeah.
Which is nuts for here.
So obviously this guy was allowed to come on Sean Ryan's podcast. He was allowed to and tell the world about this stuff. They tell you what they're doing, then it happens, and nobody can do anything besides say, I told you this is what they're doing. They're manipulating the weather. They came out and said it. But what can you actually do to stop it, And to what end? Like, what's the agenda? Why are they doing it? I guess that's the big question.
Right.
Silver iodide, again, also silver. And silver has healing properties too. It can be used for many healing modalities, which is also interesting. This is just something I found very interesting. I haven't heard really anybody talking about too much. Astronauts helicoptered to hospital after mystery evacuation from space station. And this kind of silently happened like a week ago, and not many people know about it. So I just figured it might be fun to go over this for a second here, read this article or part of it. Earlier this month, NASA announced that it had to cancel a scheduled spacewalk, citing a medical situation affecting a single crew member who is stable on board the International Space Station. The mystery illness eventually led to the space agency staging the first medical evacuation in 25 years of continuous operation on board the aging orbital outpost, rushing four astronauts back to Earth in a move that brought the station's number of occupants from seven to a skeleton crew of just three. And it goes on and on. I just find it interesting. So, they're acting like, when they did that whole Katy Perry spacewalk thing or whatever, and now they're doing this like four astronauts, the first time they're going on to space and forever. But then you hear a story like this simultaneously saying these people have been up in continuous operation on board a space station for 25 years. It's just hilarious to me. Like there's this whole other side of the coin, if this is even true at all. But if it's not true, and everybody, a lot of the flat earthers and stuff just don't want to believe anything NASA says, which is true. They don't. They lie all the time. But why go out of your way to make up a story like this just to have to cover your tracks? Well, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It's like, to what end, Either way, I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. I just found it interesting. There's probably something more to it. This could very likely just be a major cover story for some other secret space program return or something that they couldn't hide. So they just, they throw this out there and say, "Oh, somebody got sick." That's what you're seeing. It's nothing else.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space sickness is what they call it.
Seems like a cover story.
Okay. This is interesting. The Department of War CTO X account. This was like a week ago. Yes, the Department of War has directed energy weapons. Yes, we are scaling them. Light speed, lethality, directed energy, dominant. This was right after the Venezuela thing. They're just coming out and straight up telling you. It's not a theory. This was the one on the right is today, literally today. Bang. Defending the homeland through directed energy dominance. And it's them shooting down a drone with a directed energy weapon. They're just straight up telling you what they're doing at this point. I mean, in my opinion, the Department of War is a white hat backed page. Obviously, it went from the Department of Defense to Department of War, but still. And then this is also today. The Department of War has announced the formation of the new Science, Technology, and Innovation Board, STIB, following the merger of the Defense Innovation Board, DIB, and the Defense Science Board, DSB. The department is abandoning the alphabet soup of indecisive. Here, let me read that again. The department is abandoning the alphabet soup of indecisive, overlapping advisory groups and councils. So what this is telling me is that they're bypassing the three-letter agencies, the alphabet soup of indecisive overlapping advisory groups, because that's what it is. You have all of these different three-letter agencies that aren't coordinating whatsoever, and they all have overlapping agendas. So they announced the formation of this new group, STIB, which is a merger of all that, which is kind of what Kennedy was trying to, push for before he was assassinated. So the STIB unifies the scientific rigor of the DSB with the private sector agility of the DIB, which is the Defense Innovation Board. The STIB provides a single authoritative voice on innovation and delivers clear, rapid solutions to the American warfighter. So I don't know. I think that's a huge deal, in my opinion. That's just kind of not really being talked about.
Yeah, that is huge. I mean, this is, it's funny. Everything I'm seeing, it's like everything is moving towards uh we've had all these different rogue basically groups and you know competing agendas and you know no accountability, just like all this kind of stuff, and it all needs with the future we're moving into. It's part of the cleanup, right? There has to be a reining in of all this kind of stuff and or a bypassing of it and make it obsolete. And that's exactly what this is, um and the deep state's been operating through all these agencies for a long
Right.
time because it's a gold mine for them. You got no basically and this goes all the way back to, of course, the 60s when JFK with his famous speech, he obviously found out how, especially the CIA, but more than just the CIA even by that point, had gotten so far out of control and with no oversight, no accountability basically, or hardly any. And they're just operating in secrecy, doing whatever the F they want.
Right.
And then you find out all the nefarious stuff going on with that. And when these people have access to technology, manpower, and things that it's like you can't just like go in quickly and rein that in. That's a massive operation. And obviously everything we're seeing right now, it's not like this just happened yesterday. It's not like this happened last year that suddenly this cleanup, this started a long time ago. I think it started more, because people point to JFK. It's like, oh, when he got shot, that's when the White Hats started, and then they realized they had no. I think it started way before that. I think that was a big catalyzing moment that they kind of like ramped it up at that
Right.
point, because they realized like, okay, this was a coup that just happened, a even bigger coup than already happened with the cabal or the deep state taking control in the U.S. And they'd already been, with the Federal Reserve before that and before that even. But basically, what we're seeing, everything we're seeing happening right now with this and everything else, it's like a culmination point of decades and decades and decades of this shadow war that's been going on. And uh, you got the white hats and the cabal basically. And
Right.
the white hats aren't perfect, but they're at least for humanity, whereas the cabal is very anti-human. And
Right.
the light is winning. The white hats are winning, and they have won because the reason any of this is even happening, none of this would be happening if that wasn't the case,
Right. We
right?
would
None of this
be,
would be happening.
it would be quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite.
And I just wanted to highlight this because this was today. And most people probably aren't following these pages like I am, but um, it's so fascinating to me. I'm going to read the beginning part one more time because it's profound. I mean, this is literally them telling you we are taking control back. And, the Department of War has announced the formation of the new Science, Technology, and Innovation Board following the merger of the Defense Innovation Board and Defense Science Board. The department is abandoning the alphabet soup of indecisive overlapping advisory groups and councils. I love that. Just bypassing them entirely. And I think this is major news. If you've been following this for a long time, this is kind of what we've been hoping for. And Space Force kind of did the same thing with the secret space programs. All right, this is super interesting to me. We have the World Cup coming up this year, June 11th through July 19, spanning Canada, Mexico, USA. The finale is going to be in New Jersey. The FIFA trophy, Trump and the president of FIFA, I forgot his name right now, have been working very closely. He spent a lot of time with Trump in the Oval Office. Trump is housing the FIFA trophy, which is really interesting looking. And what we're looking at right here on the screen is on the left is the World Cup FIFA trophy. On the right is the Time Turner, which is a time travel device used in Harry Potter. If you watch the Harry Potter movies, that's the Time Turner. And they travel back in time. And they if you watch the third one, they introduce it in the prisoner of
And you know what else it looks like? You've seen the movie Contact, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like that device.
The Dyson sphere. Yeah.
Right.
So in my opinion, like I think Harry Potter is way more of a documentary than most people understand. Like it lays out the spiritual war in such a way that I don't think if you take it seriously, I think there's a lot of tips for um, us, us who are battling these demons and the Dementors and the ones that suffer the astral attacks and these parasitic demons and all that stuff. They give you the tricks, the keys and codes and the spells and everything, how to combat that stuff, how to combat the darkness and how to overcome it in those movies. But also they reveal a lot of technologies like time travel. And this to me is quite literally, I think they're just trying to tell you, for those who know, that they're just time travelers. I mean, they're literally time travelers. And when you listen to them talk, you're like, wow, he's seen the future. Not just him, but people surrounding him, including Melania, which that movie is coming out tomorrow or tonight at midnight. Melania in theaters, which everyone's anticipating comms and that. Um, I just think this was just a fun little thing to add. They're just telling you, guys, we're literally time traveling. That's how we're even doing this whole operation. This is a temporal war, and yes, Trump is a time traveler. And here it is, right here in his office, the time turner machine.
Yeah, unless you just think it's a massive, all these things are massive coincidences. And
Right.
his uncle, John G. Trump, with the getting Tesla's files and the books from over 100 years ago, and
Yeah. And
this, and, like, it just stacks up so much. Like, if you just think those are all crazy coincidences, I don't know what to tell you.
right.
I don't know
And
what to tell you.
Beth Noyes says Ezekiel's wheel. Yeah.
Or
That's
Ezekiel's wheel from the
right.
Bible. It also wheels within wheels, right?
And there's been a lot of attention on FIFA from Trump, and FIFA has been majorly corrupt for a long time. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories. A lot of the facilities where they host the World Cup are built on slave conditions with slave labor, and that's been ongoing for a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, like Messi and like that he's apparently a clone. There's a whole theory behind that, and like who he really is, and he's tied to his bloodline and there's a reason that's very specific. Soccer players even get big, just like any other sports, and it all deals with bloodlines. But there's so much more to FIFA than I think even anyone understands. But it's a World Cup, and what does it represent? When all these warring nations come together and play in the tournament and respect each other and get along. And I think symbolically this year, it's going to mean more. It's going to mean actually world peace, world unity. And it's going to be ushering in something like that instead of just being another tournament, right? There's so much emphasis on it that is just you can't ignore it. And if you go back and watch all these videos with Trump and this guy and how they just parade this trophy around, there's all this emphasis on it. The people on the inside know, like, listen, we're in control of the timeline now, and that's the way I
Right.
see it.
It's like signaling that.
Right.
Right.
What else? Aliens confirmed. UK filmmaker claims Trump's UFO disclosure speech drops July 8th, 2026, which is during the World Cup, which is right around the same time. And I don't know, do you know when that Steven Spielberg movie is coming out? What day? The
Let
disclosure
me look
disclosure
at it.
day?
I don't know the exact.
While you're looking that up, I'll read this. So, UFO disclosure alert. A filmmaker claims President Trump will reveal the truth on July 8th, 2026. Real deal or total hype? UK filmmaker Mark Christopher Lee has made a bold claim that President Donald Trump is preparing to deliver a major UFO disclosure speech on July 8th, 2026. According to Lee, the address would reveal long hidden information about unidentified flying objects and possible non human intelligence, marking what he believes could be a historic moment for humanity. Lee, who has produced several documentaries focused on UFOs, secret government programs, and unexplained aerial phenomenon, argues that years of classified material are finally close to being acknowledged publicly. However, there has been no official confirmation from the White House, the Pentagon, or the U.S. intelligence agencies. Until verified, the claims remain speculative, but continues to fuel questions about what the governments truly know and what may still be hidden. So he's claiming July 8th, 2026. Disclosure speech from Trump.
Well, that's less than a month. So June 12th is when Disclosure Day comes out. So that's less than a month after the movie.
So interesting. We have June 11th, the World Cup starts. June 12th, Disclosure Day. July 8th is allegedly this speech. Who knows? And then July 19th is the finale, the World Cup final in New Jersey, which
All
is
around the same time.
yeah,
Interesting.
which is interesting to me. I'm sure there's some astrological reason for these dates. I'm sure this could be, the dark has been performing rituals on these dates forever, so I'm sure there's a very significant reason why all this is happening in that June, July window.
I'm sure. Yep.
This is just for fun, and then we have one more slide after this, and then we can just kind of start wrapping it up. Um, Starseed Deluxe says, "Can we kindly please stop making a podcast about silver? It's just that every podcast is talking about silver nonstop. It's really not helpful for people who don't and who didn't invest in silver." I mean, it's
I,
just
I mean, it's kind of one of the biggest things happening right now. So I'm sorry if you didn't invest in it, but it's not like we can't talk about one of the biggest things happening.
right. I mean,
We're
in
going to talk
fact, it would be it's just to try to ignore it right now would actually be impossible because it's
right.
just
It's
everywhere. It's a
and it's
global
tied
news.
to.
Yeah.
It's not like it's an isolated thing. Like so sorry. Like we're not talking about it purely for financial investment reasons. We're talking about it. I mean, that's one thing, but like it's just one of the biggest things happening.
Right.
um, and it's tied to the technology and the technological future we're moving into, which all is silver based, and it's also tied to the collapsing of the financial system and the dollar and everything else. So it's kind of impossible not to talk about it right now if you're going to talk about current events. I
Right.
mean,
I mean, that's all this is. And we're honestly not covering the current events that we could be covering as far as politically and the ICE raids and all these things that would definitely be triggering people. I think silver is one of the lighter routes to take.
right.
And yeah, I've purposely not gone into some of the other stuff we could be covering because that's to me is more surface level distraction stuff. The ICE raids, yeah, we know there's something happening there. And it's just like basically the narcissists are getting called out and now
And
they're
by the
trying,
way, real
they're
quick,
pointing the
not to cut you
finger.
off, but it's not too late to invest in silver. It's nowhere near too late at this point in time if you have any amount of money to invest. Um, yeah, I think it's getting harder to get, but you can still get the physical stuff, I believe. If you're able to at all, I would highly suggest people still. It's not too late.
Right.
Just
Yeah, yeah.
FYI, it's not too late.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely not too late.
At
And
this point in time, I don't know, a few months from now it might be, but at this point in
right.
time,
And just to finish my thought about the ice raids and stuff, I mean, what we're seeing is it's basically a systematic takedown of the system that's been taking us down. And
right.
and they're throwing a fit, and it's like a narcissist pointing a finger and projecting whenever they're getting called out. They're saying, "Look, everybody, this guy's the enemy. This person, when you're guilty, you're pointing the finger somewhere else. When you have something to hide, you're pointing the finger somewhere else, and that's what's happening with that in a
Those,
nutshell."
yeah, those who are screaming the loudest have the most
Right,
to hide. It's generally how it
right.
works.
Like those people out there that are making UFO documentaries, calling out everyone else. Those are the people that made the people that make those films have the most skeletons in their closets.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly. When you make your entire career based on um, pooping on other people and and attacking other people or smearing other people or and of course it's always under the guise of, oh, we're just calling out the BS. We're just calling it out. But here's the thing, even if that is what you're doing, if that's your entire platform, if that's all you ever do is quote unquote call out the BS, you're still not helping, and that's still most likely a shield from your own stuff, because otherwise you wouldn't dedicate your entire everything. Like that's not constructive. Like you
right,
can do that to a certain degree, that's fine, but if half or more of what you do is attacking or smearing or downplaying or trying to make something else, trying to like point out the negative in someone else or something else, um unless it's, unless it's of course some disclosure related thing, but of course, like you can always make an excuse like, oh, that's what I'm doing. But when you really look at it, so many of these people and so many of these platforms,
Right.
all they're doing is saying basically, I don't like what these people are saying and doing, and I'm gonna attack them
Right.
and make them look bad. And that's never a good thing. And that just, to me, that just makes yourself look bad. And it
Right.
means
A
you have a lot to
100%.
hide, and there's something you're trying to keep everyone from looking at to you, you know?
Yeah. And then also pay attention to the people that align themselves with those people because they
Right.
know that that person is going out calling everyone out and they're like, oh, I better become this person's friend so they don't call me out too.
Right.
Um, that's just, it's so easy to see once you see it. But anyway, somebody said, Kelvin Finch said, remember years ago when silver was a vampire weapon? It probably still is. Need to get some silver bullets and crosses
Yeah.
and start
Well,
battling.
there's lots of health, there's lots of health related uses for silver, as we
Right.
know. As well as the technology stuff, it's massively
As well as
good
being
for health.
vampire slayer.
As well as being a vampire, right? Well, it's anti-parasitic.
Right.
So if you understand, what's the things, silver and garlic? Well,
Right.
those are both massively anti-parasitic. So I think that's some
And
disclosure going on
there
there,
you
right?
go. Yep. All right, let's move on. Marines in restricted military training area on Quantico Marine Base report seeing a Bigfoot. A restricted military base is an unexpected setting for a Bigfoot encounter. That was published on January 27th, just a couple days ago. That's the only reason I put this in here is because, Bigfoot stuff is obviously coming to the forefront as well. We just had that amazing documentary. I forgot what the name of it is. American Sasquatch, Man, Myth, or Monster. That I recommend going to watch that. But there's lots of talk about Sasquatch now. In fact, I actually casted my own print last week. I found basically a 16-inch footprint that on my walk. 2 days prior to that, Lily Nova, my girlfriend, she said Sasquatch was talking to her and she was kind of in communication with them, like psychically, telepathically, and they said they would be leaving a print for us. And 2 days later, on my walk, I find a print. I'm good enough to cast, and I did that. And if you go to my Facebook page, you can see pictures of that. But anyway, just interesting stuff happening with Sasquatch. Just some interesting military news on Sasquatch. And then this, I only posted this because Trump dropped this today. Um, he retruthed this today. Trump just posted this video about Dominion the voting machine fraud. You think the timing is coincidence? A Venezuelan military intelligence whistleblower confirmed the CIA outsources election rigging technology like Smartmatic and Dominion from Venezuela. So Venezuela was a hub, headquarters for whatever operation was happening that was basically helping the Democrats or whoever rig elections. So obviously that's one layer of what happened in Venezuela. And I just thought it was interesting. It's just something I saw pop up not long before we went live. So just something very current about that. And then that's it. That's all I have for this slideshow. Um, Anything to add to that, Aaron? And any questions from the chat?
Um, let's look.
Why did you have anything to add to that? The last
Not
stuff?
not really.
Or,
I just think, we're in exciting times. Even it seems scary, but it's really exciting. But you still need to understand what's going on so you can make the right moves and be smart instead of listening to whatever mainstream media tells you or other people that don't know anything tell you. So yeah, I mean, I think
hello.
prepping is a great idea right now, but I wouldn't go too crazy with it. Just make sure if anything crazy does happen, though, you're going to be all right for a couple weeks or a few weeks at least, you and your family. But
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Don't live in fear.
you can't live in fear, though. Yeah, you got to stay out of
Right.
fear, stay in love, stay in neutrality, and but be smart at the same time and use common sense and try to be informed at the same time.
Right.
And you can still do that and stay in neutrality and stay out of fear. And
Mhm.
make the right decisions for you and your family. I think there's a massive overhaul of everything going on right now. So you're seeing this simultaneously, you're seeing this collapse of all the old systems we've been in for so long. It's all collapsing right now, and it's scary, seemingly. But at the same time, there's all this new stuff coming online at the same time, and there's this massive change happening. But the old is trying to hang on for dear life, and it's kicking and screaming on the way out. So there's a lot of noise being made, and there's a lot of shenanigans going on with that. And they're trying to get you caught up in those energies. They're trying to bait you because they need your energy to keep fueling that old system, keep fueling the fear-based system, right?
Right.
So they're trying to bait you all the time. So don't take the bait. Stay out of fear. Uh, Stay out of any kind of inflammatory, massive headline kind of stuff that's trying to rile you up and get you to act out and get you to, do something stupid and get you to live in fear and anger and hatred. That's what it's trying to do. That's what the old systems and
Right.
the old guard that's on its way out is trying to still hang on for dear life and get you to take the bait. Don't do
Yeah.
it. Stay in neutrality. Stay out of fear. Realize love is all there actually is, and you know, love your family and the people around you, and you're gonna be all right. And we're gonna make it through this, and it's gonna be a very bright, beautiful future we're moving into. And I think we covered a lot of things that point to that.
Right.
And even though there's still shenanigans going on, and there's still really dumb disclosure in quotes that is, it's like there's still a controlled narrative going on. I don't know how much longer that can last to that degree. But it's going to be interesting to see how things play out in the
Yeah.
coming few years.
Beautifully said. And we have a question from New England Dirt Roadie. Why does Journey to Truth continue to deny the reality of banana-shaped Earth when the truth came out in 1975?
The
I,
troll.
I, how can you prove that? Can you show us a picture of that? Is
Is
there
that
evidence?
wait? Is that a joke or a troll?
I don't know.
Banana shit. It sounds like a joke to me.
Right. Um,
Yeah, funny.
yeah. Anyway, guys, if you're interested in watching our new documentary, Secret Space Program documentary, you can do so on our Patreon. That link is below. It's $14.99 to watch. If you want to wait up to a couple months, depending on how long it takes for the streaming platforms to actually pick it up, you can watch it on Amazon Prime, Roku, Hulu, and other platforms like that. But if you don't want to wait, you can go straight to our Patreon and watch it tonight. We appreciate the support. We couldn't have done it without you. There's been overwhelming positive feedback from everybody. And if you don't want to purchase the film, you can still join our Patreon for only $5 a month. And this Sunday on Patreon, we will be doing a live Q&A, answering your questions about the film and a behind the scenes look of what it was like to make this film and, what went into that and how, the hardships and everything else that we had to overcome to make this film happen. So if you're interested in asking us one-on-one questions, join the Patreon. Sunday, 6 o'clock Central, we will be going live on there for our patrons. And if you're interested in joining us in Hawaii, you can go to journeytotruth.online. There are 18 tickets left, potentially less at this point. For in-person spots, but we do have virtual passes now available for $55, and that will get you access to the opening and closing ceremonies and all 9 presenters while we're there on the island. And that link is also on the website. We did create a Telegram group for anyone that is going to the conference in Hawaii. If you want to join the Telegram group, that is on the website as well. And you can coordinate with other people who are looking for roommates and to share accommodations to make the trip more affordable. So journeytotruth.online, click on events. You can go to the Hawaii conference and find all that information there. And the schedule should be coming out within the next week. So those of you that are going, stay tuned for the schedule. And we're super excited. We can't wait to see you there. It's going to be here before we know it, like right around the corner, April 20th. So grab a ticket, come hang out with us. And I think that's it. Aaron, any final words?
Just thank you so much, everyone, for watching and buying the film, and for all your kind words about it. It's been overwhelming in the last week. to see all the love and how much everyone enjoyed it and really liked the film. And it's great to see, because when you know you make something, you put all your heart and soul into it, and then you just hope that it's received well. And
Right.
it was beyond our expectations. So thank you so much. And
Right.
yeah, can't wait to do the Q&A and answer some questions and talk more about it, behind the scenes stuff about it. And it'll be fun. Yeah. So sign up to our Patreon if you're not already, if you want to
Yep.
be part
And
of that.
then the link to purchase the film as a product to own is the top link in the description below. And this is only the beginning. Like this is just kind of like a soft release on our Patreon, but in a few months it should be on the streaming platforms, and we're
Mhm.
really going to be pushing to make this known and seen globally. It's a very, it's a taboo subject for a lot of people, but I think it's time. There's no more walking on eggshells and dancing around these topics anymore and tiptoeing around. It would just tell it like it is, let people decide for themselves. And we're just grateful to be here in a position to bring this information out to you guys, because it's truly is a blessing to be able to follow our passion for a living. And I'm grateful every day for that. And we can't do it without you guys. So, that
Yeah.
being said, we love you. Have a great evening. And until next time, good night.
Good night, guys.
And that was a premature good night because I'm not ready to sign out. All
Oh,
right. Good night.
good night for real.